Hey there everybody, how y'all doing? I know I said the next video is going to be the 357 running. Well, the 357 Chevy started on January 1st. Sounded good, seemed good for the little bit we ran it. Well, today I was going to run it on the live show last night, and a little voice in my head kind of told me, yeah, just do it today. Beautiful outside, so I could have the door open, let the exhaust out. Beautiful day. And then it happened. I had a water leak to fix, even though I filled it with my special thing that held vacuum. But after it got running, it got a little warm, about 220 degrees warm when I shut it off. And when I shut it off, I got greeted with a cloud of smoke out the exhaust. I'm like, I've never seen that happen before. Well, then Mama Bear's car had some issues. Her gauge on the dash said her car was running cool, but her information center said extreme hot engine, turning off AC, which the AC wasn't turned on. Yeah, and it's that Cadillac 2010, so it's probably getting the ghost wiring issues. Need to dump that thing. So, okay, this thing was acting up, running warm. I needed to walk away from it. So I went over to Mama Bear's. Mama Bear's dumped a gallon of antifreeze into it. Kind of fell a little down. I'm like, okay, now where's the antifreeze going on her car? Nothing's wet. Couldn't see any signs of it coming out the exhaust. I don't know why I had to add a gallon of antifreeze to it. Lord only knows. So I come back here to work on the motor. And I was running it, and it started, and it started popping. It's hit and miss. Well, and I don't know nothing about the distributor that's in here. That's just one I had laying here that it looked good and it worked. Well, I got a little upset with the motor, so I revved her up, and on the driver's side header I could see the smoke coming out. The first set of plugs, it was cylinder number 7 that went down, and I'm like, okay. I pulled the plugs out. They're all oil soaked. I'm like, what the hell? So I look in the cylinders. Pistons appear to be dry, but the spark plugs are oil soaked. So I ran a compression test on. I mean, I got tools all over the place. Some of you guys cuss me for having all these tools. Well, this is not a high compression motor. This is a stock dish piston with 7060 heads. Did the compression test. Every cylinder was 114 to 116. Yeah, that sounds low, but it really hasn't been ran and broke in yet. So they're consistent, so that tells me the rings are sealing. Well, then I was talking to the machinist, and I'm like, out of all my years of doing this, this is the very first motor that's ever done that to me. Smoked out the exhaust like that, and missed and popped, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to let it cool down. Pull the valve covers, look through the springs, make sure all the seals got put on it. Well, I'm talking to him, and he's like, well, he says, well, with the rings, if they weren't seated, he said, put it back together, run it longer. And I said, you know, the 377 ran great. Other than the oil leak I had to fix, which was my own fault. And as soon as I said that seal, he goes, wait a minute. He says, the intake. And that's what I'm getting ready to do now. Again, having tools makes things go easier. He says, the intake. He says, you said the top of the pistons appear to be dry. I said, yeah. He said, but if you're sucking oil, and I'm like, oh, I had that happen to me. You know what? It's funny. I had that happen to me when I built this motor 20 years ago with that Performer intake. That was brand new out of the box. Put it on this motor. We didn't see it smoking back then because it had a full exhaust. But the guy drank a quart of oil right after this motor was built. And now, I think I'm dealing with the same problem again because we're going to check. As I told, he says, well, pull the intake. And I said, well, if I go take off the carburetor and go with the expansion, yeah, I'm wound up. Fumed up, wound up. He's like, no, just text message. If I look in there and I see oil, he says, yeah, it's sucking oil past the intake gaskets. And he goes, you know what? Between him and I, we don't ever remember putting a straight edge on it or double checking. We cleaned it, yes. So, even if it is straight, what could have happened? Who knows who milled that? They might have milled it to another set of heads. That thing could be off. And I'm kind of agreeing with him because as I'm getting ready to tear this out, I'm seeing something. Well, I'm not going to tear it out yet because I got to get the coolant down, the room temp, and I seen something. So let's okay, let's see. Oh boy. All right. So twice with this motor I've had intake issues. Well, cylinder number 7 feeds right here. And you notice something here, guys, and those bolts are tight. But see how the oil seems to be wicking up the gaskets? And you can't see down there now, but when I took the carburetor off, there was oil sitting here. That side there was really covered in oil. But this side wasn't, which is kind of baffling me. But let's see. Oops, dumping gas. Anyway. Okay. That's going to be a real real omen on this motor. Maybe I should just give up on it. Okay, I know. Well, number 1 and number 3, the plugs look nice and clean. Number 5 and 7 now look like they've been burned. Oh yeah. Oh. Yep. Guess what? Come on. I wish I had one of these where it was that I could control where the I'm trying to get to where I can. Guess what? Let's see. No, I want to go. What did I do? No. Where? One of these, the function is. Dang it, I had it. That ain't the spot that I had. I had a good spot and then I didn't. Lost. When I get it, I'll bring you guys back. Okay, it gets a good picture, but look at that. See the bubbles? See that bubbling? So, yep, there we go. Yep, that's bubbles. Huh. That's interesting to see that. Yep, so yep, I'm sucking oil in. So I guess I'll let the motor cool down, and we're gonna I like to have a bigger camera, but anyway, yep, so that explains. Alright, well, 20 years ago I had this trouble, and now I got trouble with it again. So, well, sometimes you overthink things, and that's kind of where I was getting, because I was like, this ain't making sense. This is supposed to be the break-in of this motor, and it sounds good, especially about $4 or $5 grand, because I'm like, if it's gonna go, it's gonna blow. And yep, intake is not right to go on these heads. So I guess that's a lesson learned. I don't know when we're going to get the break-in done on this, because I really don't want to put the performer intake back on that, because I got plans for that, but I don't know. I guess I'll have to find another intake somehow, and what a thing. Oh, and another one of you guys. Oh, yeah, here. Don't forget this hole either. One of you guys just talked to me about having this problem, and then I go and do it myself. Because I was like, where'd these splotches come from down there on the floor? Well, you see, right? Where is it? Let's see. See right there? Down there's where I got the battery cable hooked. Usually I put it in that top hole. That's the one where you go through to hold your fuel pump rod up. Yeah, I left it open. So when I had it revved up, it started pushing oil out. And I think another reason I didn't notice that is because right there, I basically got an air filter in that hole, plugging that intake. So yeah. But yeah, otherwise the valve covers, oil pan, rear seal, everything is sealed on this motor this time. It's doing really, really good. Other than the intake. So, I guess, guys, you know, I've always said I don't hide things on this channel. The only thing I didn't let you guys see is how bad it was smoking. Because I was thinking, I was going through the checklist in my head. Did I manage to put a ring in upside down? Did I put a compression ring in upside down? Because when I was putting this motor together, my uncle died. The guy that owned it died. And I kind of just, yeah, bad omen. And now here, intake issue again. And that brand new box, that intake that came out of the box brand new 20 years ago. Father-in-law, if I wouldn't have been standing there, I wouldn't have believed it. He got me convinced to pull the intake. I took it up. He cut it. We put it back on. The guy thought I put another motor in for him. That's the difference it made. So, I guess this is a warning, a lesson for, not a warning, a lesson for everybody. If you're going to use an old intake, make sure you either have it straight edge checked or remilled, so when you put it on, it'll work. Lesson learned. Got 3 good days out of this year before the 4th one went. So, anyway, everybody, I guess once I figure out what I'm going to do for an intake, we'll do that, and then we'll drain the fluids out of this thing and try it again. Put a different intake on, and otherwise, yeah, it sounded good, but other than the fact that it went lost the oil soaked plugs, so hopefully I didn't ruin them. That was brand new sales, so I might try cleaning them, put them in, but well, those are old school, so they might actually work. So anyway, I'm going to quit talking. I'm wound up and fumed up. So see you later. Have a good one.